Welcome to Financial Ginger. I'm your host, Jacob Johnson. I am known for being the insurance agent that picks up his phone, but that is not important today. Today we have Mattie, or as she is known on Instagram as _Mattie_G. Well, instead of me introducing her, why don't I let her introduce herself? Welcome, Mattie. I'm excited to have you.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's exciting.
Well, it can't be as nerve-wracking as sharing your debt with everyone online.
I know. I feel like I have exposed myself pretty heavily with my debt online. So
yeah, I've heard some people say, because there's a couple other people that I followed over the years, like when I was in college a decade ago, that like were similar, like sharing and documenting their debt journey and paying off debt. And one of them, she described it as being worse than, and pardon, this is slightly crass. She's like, I would rather have like nude photos of myself online than share. Like it's that personal of a thing. I mean, obviously it's that same sort of emotion, just for a listener to be like, yeah, imagine if you're sharing about all the debt you have online. It's scary. I suppose the first question I want to ask is, what inspired you to do that? Or how did you make the decision to start sharing and documenting that online?
oh my gosh, that's a good question. I just want to say that my friend told me, she was like, why does talking about debt feel more taboo than talking about sex? So the whole nude photo, like totally
Understandable.
valid, totally valid. It's so weird. Um, we've been in debt for a while, my husband and I had seen other creators post about their debt. And it every time I saw it, I thought, oh man, that is brave. Like that is brave. And it always made me feel a little seen too. Like, oh, okay, so there's somebody else out there who's in maybe the same amount of debt as me, or maybe has a little more debt than me. And they're okay. They're okay. And they're posting about it. And so anyway, over time, I I think it was building up inside of me for a while, and I've always been fairly active on social media. But back in November, I literally woke up one day and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I've been thinking about it, so I might as well just do it. And I had conversations with my husband, and I talked to my parents about it because it is very personal, and you can very easily start to get into things in your life that maybe you don't really want to share. So we, set some boundaries. Like we didn't want to talk about my husband's career, and I wanted to keep him as private as possible. But other than that, I just aired out my dirty laundry. And the first video I posted, I had no expectation. I didn't tell any other friends or family what I was doing. I made a completely separate account, and I just went, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And that video went viral.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it was that first one, but the at least the second one that I saw, that one has over 1 million views. And that was like less than a month ago.
Yes.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it has 2 million views on TikTok and 1 million views on Instagram, which is like, what?
I know, it's interesting that many people would be interested in what in
my dumb debt. I know.
But like you said earlier, you've seen other people do it, and it's so relatable, right? It's feeling like I'm not alone in, I don't know, suffering is the right word, right? But like in these feelings and these experiences I'm having, you're not alone. And I think that's
totally
valuable.
I've had hundreds. I mean, at this point, I'm sure it's been hundreds of messages from people that they're like, I am so glad someone's, and I know there are other content creators talking about it. I know I'm not the only one, but it just seems like people who are messaging me haven't really seen any other creators talk about it. And they really do feel like super seen, and they just resonate with what I'm posting, and they're like, wow, I guess I wasn't the only one dealing with this. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Yep.
None of us are,
Yeah, I actually was inspired by, I mean, I commented on one of the Facebook posts about it, but it's like, you know what? Like, why I have debt. And it's like, why don't I
Mm-hmm.
mean, outside of my housing debt, which I will keep
Mm-hmm.
that in a separate category, right? I mean, bought
Yes.
a townhome and it's like, oh yeah, that's a lot. Well, outside of that, I want to get rid of all that. I'm like, wait, me and my wife, we've got some student loans that haven't been paid off that we're just making the minimum payments on. And I've just like accepted that
Mm-hmm.
that's I'm like, wait, no. So I was inspired and I made a comment on one of your posts. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to commit. I'm going to pay off all of my and my wife's student loans. We're going to get that paid off. The goal is similar time frame, like December of this year, 12 months. I think we can do it. It's just going to take a little bit of budgeting and a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
being careful with some of our spending habits and changing a few things for a while. But I'm like, if I make that sacrifice for a year, I might be able to be. It's not that way for everyone, but I can do that. And I'm inspired by what you're doing. So I'm excited. I'm going to
I
do it.
think I'm excited for you and I'm cheering you on in that. I think you can do it too. And I think something that you said is really interesting. You were like, we were good with just the minimum payment, like we're just paying the minimum payments and that's what we do. And I think one thing that this debt journey has led me to is like a little bit of anger at all of the ways we're able to be in debt just in life. Like I bet most of the people that we talk to don't own their phones. They're
Mm.
probably on a payment plan for, I mean, I am. Um, they're doing like the Klarna payment. I mean, there's just so, and
You
we're
can
okay
finance
with
a
it.
burrito from Chipotle. Like you
Yes,
can do
it's
4 payments to buy
crazy.
lunch, you know, like
And
it,
we're just
yeah, it's
okay with it for the
normalized.
most part. Yeah. I mean, everybody, like having a car payment is normal. Having a student loan payment is normal. And I don't judge anyone who's just, yes, I have a car payment and I have student loan payment. I don't judge anyone who's not trying to aggressively pay everything off, but I think it is eye-opening when we start to recognize the other debt. Maybe it's not credit card debt, but the other debt that we're just comfortable floating from month to month.
Yeah, yeah, and it's ingrained in our culture. That's actually, I mean, pardon, I'm an insurance agent, so I go off on insurance all the time. But one of the things that I hear constantly when people are getting insurance quotes is they'll say,
Mhm.
"Oh, wait, that insurance is more expensive than my car payment." And I am probably the only person that I'm aware of. I've never had a car payment. And I'm very fortunate to do so. Right, like when I was in college, my parents let me borrow an old beater car. I had a 1998 Pontiac Bonneville, and the AC didn't work on it, and one of the windows didn't roll up properly, and
Love
it
it.
was truly terrible, especially when it's 108 degrees in Utah, right? Like not having air conditioning. And it was like a V6 engine too, right? It's like a powerful car. Like it's one of the more
Yeah.
powerful cars. But I was fortunate enough that I was able to have that. I recognize most people don't have that privilege.
Right.
And I drove that car until I was working my job and I was able to save up enough money to buy a Prius with cash. Right. And
Mm.
it was a double branded salvage title. So the car had been totaled twice. So I paid like $6,000 for this car. That was, you know, it was only 7 or 8 years old at the point, and
Still.
drove that. And so I'm very
Yeah.
fortunate to not, but right. Like it's weird hearing someone's like, oh, well, that's more expensive than my car payment. I'm like, oh, I've never had a car payment. So I don't have that as a reference for auto insurance. And so everyone go off in the comments and tell me how crazy it is that you never had a car payment, right? Like
How privileged you
comment
are.
below, be like, Jacob, you're so privileged. But I don't know. Just wanted to share that a little bit. So, but you're right.
Yeah.
It's right. Like so many people reference so many things in relation to how much debt it is. Like I work with a lot of realtors and they also talk about, it's like people think about buying a house in terms of what's the mortgage payment going to be, right? Most people don't even consider it a possibility. You might pay off your house in the future and not have a mortgage
Yes.
payment. Like it's real. It
Yes.
happens. People do it.
And it's almost weird. There are people that comment on my videos and they're like, I'm working on paying my car off and my mortgage off right now. And I'm like, not towards these people, but like what a luxury it would be for me, at least right now, to start being able to pay my car off. And we sold our house. So, I mean, technically we paid
Yeah.
our house off. Good
Congrats on
for
the
us.
sale.
Thank you.
Hopefully that was good
Um,
and not necessarily really sad. I mean, I saw your post about it. You're talking about how emotional that is and how much,
it
blood, sweat, and
it
tears.
was that was, I mean, this whole past year, I think the reason why it's only, it was in November that we started to really aggressively pay our debt off is because this whole last year we were renovating this house and it was requiring Oh
You're
man.
gonna see the
Oh,
emotions coming in your eyes.
oh my gosh. The months where I would just see the money leave our bank account to, to go towards things that were coming up in the renovations that needed to happen. And anyway, we were in a little bit of survival mode this last year. So it's like bittersweet to say goodbye to this house that we had for 5 years. That's where we started our marriage and all these things. But I asked my husband about it. He's like, I'm glad it's gone. Like, good riddance. Like, close the chapter. We're done.
Oh my gosh. That's
So,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. That's so funny. Just thinking the different, because we all have different emotional ways that we respond both to things and to money, right? Like,
Hmm.
and it's right. It's not right or wrong to feel about your debt, anger or satisfaction or annoyance or contentment or disregard, right? Like, oh, I just make the minimum payment. That's that. Like, it doesn't matter how you approach it emotionally. Those are all valid feelings. So I really want to emphasize that it's valid, however you feel about the debt you have.
Yeah. I mean, I've also heard a lot of people talk about you can't get emotional with debt. You just, yeah. I'm like, okay, what? That is impossible because it's emotional. It is emotional. There's a lot of emotions around being in debt. There's a lot of shame that comes from being in debt. There's a lot of disappointment and anger and frustration and even maybe feeling a little bit like a victim being in debt. And so
Yeah.
it's hard to be like, you can't be emotional about debt. I'm like, well, watch me. Yes, I can. And I will.
And you will. And
And I
millions of people
will.
are going to watch along the way because they feel that
Well,
too.
yes, it's true. Nobody that I've talked to is unemotional over their debt. It's just that's not how it works. And the first card that we paid off, so we started um, in November, we were at $63,000 in credit card debt, or probably a little bit more than that at the beginning of
Yeah.
November. And that's when I came onto social media and I was like, let me help you feel better about your situation by telling you mine. But the first card that we decided to pay off had nothing to do with the interest rate and had nothing to do with the balance. It was purely emotional.
Mhm.
It was a business card from years ago when my husband had started a business with an acquaintance of ours and it just went really bad. I don't know how else it went really bad. It was one of the hardest times of our lives. We didn't have an income during that time and we didn't know what we were doing. Like we had never started a business before and we were really kind of relying and trusting in other people that maybe we didn't know very well at that time to help us through. Um, and so anyway, the business didn't amount to anything. And it left us with a lot of our own personal debt just during that time trying to survive everything. But then we sort of had to take over the business debt. So that was the card that we decided to pay off first. And
Yeah.
it was an emotional decision. And I fully admit it was an emotional decision. Um, but I don't regret it. I think there is something very important about being in a good mental space when you're paying off debt. And this card was sort of haunting us and reminding us about these really dark years that we experienced. And so after we paid it off in 2 months. I mean, we buckled down and we paid that card off. It was at 10 grand or something like that. Paid it off. And there was a definite, like, my husband and I both were like, okay, that chapter is totally done. We have no more connection to that part of our life. Moving
Mm.
on. So,
Even though, right, at the end of the day, it's money, just like any other debts, it's not, because there's something
yeah,
mentally and emotionally associated with it, right? And
totally.
I think it's important to just mention, right? Like you said, it's maybe this doesn't make the most sense as being the first card to pay off, right? Because the traditional wisdom, you listen to Dave Ramsey, they're going to say you need to pay off the one with the highest interest rate first. It's like, well, this one's 26.4%. This one's only 18% interest. So you have to pay that one off. It's like, okay, but what if it's going to emotionally free you to pay off the old business debt first? The crappy business debt first, the frankly shitty business debt first. That's fine, right? Like, do it. Yeah. And that might give you more emotional willpower to keep going, having wins like that, right? Yes. I know another method I've seen from some people where they say pay off the smallest debt first, because then you see one of your credits goes away, right? Because it was paid off, and that can be emotionally invigorating to keep going. Like, whatever works for you. Nothing wrong with picking the highest interest rate and being super math logical about it. Nothing wrong with picking the lowest number. There's nothing wrong with picking the one that's the most emotionally frustrating to deal with. Either way, you're winning.
Right. I mean, to me, I'm like, we're paying our debt off regardless. There's no, okay, yes, maybe we save a few $100s over here if we pay off this interest first. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's $63,000 of credit card debt. Like, do you think I'm going to nitpick every little thing? Like, we just have to get it paid off. It's a very personal, I appreciate other people's wisdom and advice. And I'm always like, I'm open to hearing advice from other people. There are other people that are much wiser than me, but
and me.
Also at the end of the day, we have to do what's best for us. You have to do what's best for you and what makes more sense for your life and your income and your expenses throughout the month. We can't all, I don't know. Dave Ramsey is great. But can we all do that? It's not, I don't know. Everyone's so different. It's so individual.
Yeah, I always joke that Dave Ramsey's advice is 80% good for 80% of people.
Yeah.
80% of the time.
Yes. And I think he's much smarter than me. But we're all going to do things differently.
Yeah. But right. Like, there's people that are like, oh, if you can't buy a house with a 15-year mortgage, don't do it. I'm like, I don't think I've know a single person who's bought a house in this century that hasn't done a 30-year mortgage, right? Or a seller, right? Like, it's just, and maybe that's good advice. Yes. But how applicable is it to you personally? That's more important, right? And that's why I really have liked your content, because you're just talking generally about, and not saying you're not allowed to do other stuff in the future, right? Do whatever you're going to do, go off. But like, I've liked following along, because it's just, here's how I'm doing, here's what I'm doing, here's how I'm feeling. I made a win. It was successful. Like, I like your grocery haul video. Yeah. It's like, look, here's the groceries I bought this week to, I'm like, that's super cool. I love it. It's like, we got chicken, we got vegetables, we got milk. I actually sent that one to my wife, and I'm like, look at this. This is cool.
Oh my gosh. I am literally such a nerd now over budgeting, and I make it a game. There was a month, like a couple months ago, where we had like $40 left in our grocery budget, just because when my husband's home from work, we go through a little bit more food. And so at the end of this month, we had $40, and he was like, look, we're just going to go over our grocery budget. It just is what it is. And I'm like, no, we're not. I am going to buy groceries with $40 and have it last for the week. And I did.
That's awesome. Is that what inspired that video?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I know. I have some friends that try to do like a no spend month, where it's like, we're going to use old food storage that we've had for years that's starting to expire for this month, or whatever it is. And it's like, that's cool. I've never done that, but it's cool if it works. Right. Keep the budget. Or I've seen some people where they're like, oh, I was $40 under at the end of the month, and that $40 went directly to the debt, or whatever, it's like. Yeah.
You kind of make it a game. You kind of make it fun for you in whatever way. And I'm very stingy. I feel like I've become a little bit stingy. But I see the results from it. So
yeah.
I'm not mad about it.
An ounce of discipline is worth a pound of something else. I don't know what.
You were onto something with that one. That's a good one. You should keep working on that.
I'll work on that. something exercising. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh Oh, that's
It's like
good.
not even funny at this point. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Just put it on a shirt and have a blank, like
Just
an ounce of
an ounce of
discipline
discipline.
is a pound of,
Dot
and
dot
you can
dot is
decide.
a pound of.
Yeah. Whatever.
So don't even put it's worth a pound of, just an ounce of discipline,
Yeah.
a pound
Is a
of.
pound of.
Oh my gosh, sorry
Oh.
to derail. I'm good at
Yeah,
that.
sorry. Okay.
It's the ADHD.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Understandable.
So um I'm not sure exactly what I want to ask, but like my general
Yeah.
like question is like motivation and like emotions. Like just a little bit of a story. I have been really bad about like exercising for the last like 4 years. And it was like a year and a half into marriage, right? Like just my wife doesn't like to go in the mornings like I do. Like it's just different. And so I just kind of stopped going, and then we both kind of stopped going together. Well, over the last like month, Spanish Fork, where we live, opened a like a family fitness center, like a rec center. And my wife's like, hey, we should get passes and go. And I'm like, I'm only going to go if we commit to actually going like 2 or 3 days a week in the morning. And she's like, okay. So I got my wife on board with this. We're going to actually go exercise with each other in the morning. And we've been consistent since then. Before the 2026ers hit the gym, the New Year's resolution people, right? And that's actually been like a source of me keeping motivation and kind of overriding my natural emotions of I'm going to just wake up and I don't feel like going. And like, you kind of see what I'm asking in terms of budgeting and paying off debt, like getting your husband on board or communicating with him, like, or having systems that keep you motivated or active. Like, what are you doing to regulate your emotions and your motivation and your action?
Ooh,
very, very,
that's
very general question. Sorry.
That's a very good question.
Take it wherever you want.
I really relate to the workout stuff because I started working out consistently 4 years ago, and I have not stopped. I've been consistent for 4 years. And so that's amazing. And I really relate to that because, and this ties in with, the budgeting and everything. But I remember when I first started working out consistently and I just decided like, I'm doing this. I would get up at 5 a.m. before work, and my guttural instinct when I would wake up was just to cry. I just wanted to cry. Like thinking about having to get up and do a workout or drive to the gym, it just made me want to weep. And it was very hard for a while. And now it's just a habit, and it's something that I do. It's part of my day. It's whatever. And so I look at budgeting the same way and kind of how far we've come. I think we started our budget like 7 months ago. We really sat down and like we figured our money situation out. We admitted to ourselves that we were not managing our money very well. You always think you're being responsible because you're like not buying stuff, but then you go through your bank statements and you're like,
I'm like,
oh,
I
okay.
bought stuff. Bought a lot of
Yeah, I
stuff.
bought stuff. Wow, Amazon again? Okay.
Amazon.
Target. 3 trips to the grocery store in one day. I think for me the beginning of it has to come from a desire. Like I think motivation is at the start of it, but motivation won't carry you through it. It's the discipline and the systems that are going to keep you consistent. And so when we started budgeting, I bought this spreadsheet from Etsy because I'm not going to do the spreadsheet thing. And I'm like, this is my system. This is our system now. We've done the research. We have the evidence of what our money's doing right now. We know what our budget needs to be, and this is where we're going to track it all. And it's our system, and we have stayed consistent with it for 7 months. And I think I've heard the saying like, you can't rely on how you're feeling. You have to rely on the systems that you built.
Yeah. We fail to the level of our systems. We don't succeed to our goals. We fail to our systems. Yeah. That's
Yes,
something I've
it's
been
true.
thinking about a lot lately, because I've had to
Yes.
systematize everything, right? Like getting out podcast episodes. I have a system that forces it to get done. And even when I fail, it gets done because my system includes that. It's just not possible to fail with the system. So yeah, having a system, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And some people will look at that and they'll say, "Oh, you're just so good at budgeting." And I'm like, "But I'm really not. Like I'm still working on this every day. I still have to show up every day. I still have to open the budgeting thing every single day. I need to keep track of our spending every it's like, yeah, oh, you're so good at working out. You go every day." I'm like, "I know, but 4
Mm,
years. 4 years of build up to where I'm at now, it does not happen overnight. It just doesn't."
no, absolutely doesn't. Yeah. No, and nothing does. And systems improve and change over time, right? Like
Yes.
my wife and I started budgeting like 2 years into marriage. We've been married for almost 5 years. So a little bit similar.
Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're
And
welcome.
when we got married at the beginning, it just was right, like whatever. We were just doing whatever. And then we actually have a
Yeah.
spreadsheet in Excel that we import our bank statements into. So we've got like the line items, we assign them to a budget we've got where we've got, hey, we've got this much set aside for our mortgage payment each month. We've got this much for utilities. This much is for household food, groceries, and our cat, because we like spending on our cat. She
Yes.
has to get these injections every month because she has arthritis. And we're like, we need to do that for our cat so she lives a good life. She's 19 years old. 19 years
Oh
old.
my
She's a calico. Her
gosh.
name's Mischief. Love her to death.
Old lady.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Sweet.
Though it doesn't matter how old your cats are, they are always babies. Always.
Always babies.
Old lady and
Always
baby at the
babies.
same time.
And baby. Mm-hmm.
Just a
Mm-hmm.
little baby.
Always a baby.
Yeah, she'll like sleep on Kimberly, my wife Kimberly, her hip. Like, so I'll wake up in the middle of the night because whatever. I just wake up or whatnot, and I'll just see the cat like draped over my wife's hip. It's cute. It's super cute. Love the cat. Anyway, so we got our budget, and we've got like all those things line item, and then once a month we sit down and just review and say, where are we at? And sometimes we go over on some categories. Sometimes we go slightly under, but it's like
Yep.
making sure we're staying within the bounds of the money we've brought in, because if you spend less than you make, you've succeeded for the month. You can use that towards debt or towards saving for a house or whatever goal you need. But the first thing you have to do is know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you can't succeed, because there's too many leaks. Like you said, you'll order Amazon 3 times or
Yeah.
you'll order out a couple times and you don't even realize because you're not tracking it. So the first time we did that,
Exactly.
we had to go back through 3 months of our previous bank statements to make our first budget. We went back through 3 months. We didn't even know what some of the charges were, right? Because sometimes an Amazon charge will come through and it'll be like C7305, like this random string of numbers with
Yes.
Amazon at the end, and the bank statement truncates it so you can't even see the Amazon in the end. And you're like, what is
Yep.
this statement? So figured out 3 months and we're like, what's our average we're spending on these? Oh crap, that's more than our
Yes.
income. We have to fix this. If we don't fix this,
We
we
have to
can't pay
fix
off debt.
this. Yes. That's exactly what I did. I went back through 3 months. And I just think 3 months gives you like a nice, well-rounded idea of what's coming in, what's going out, and in each
Yeah.
category. And I I also think the other side of this is that if you are someone who is stressed about looking at your bank account, like you feel heavy and sick, like I did back in the day, to just even open the bank app, you gotta you gotta stop avoiding. Um, and the minute that you're able to have something in front of you that's giving you the evidence of what's happening, that anxiety just goes away. Like you don't have to worry about that anymore. And that is freeing. Like, why not just let yourself feel not stressed and free yourself of that anxiety? And it's not easy. It takes work, but man, it's such a heaviness that just drags you down.
Yeah. It's emotionally overwhelming sometimes.
It is. It is. And I've had a lot of people message me. Everyone wants to know, how I budget and all these things. And I'm hesitant to share like our exact budget because what is that going to help?
It's different to everyone.
It's different to everyone.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they're like afraid to start budgeting. They're afraid to kind of face some of the numbers that they will have to look at. And I fully, fully understand that feeling. It's very scary.
Yeah. And
So,
this is kind of a side note that I've been thinking about while we've been talking about this. And if it is too scary to where you literally can't bring yourself, like if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to look at my last 3 months and it's just so emotionally scary, there are professionals that's all they do, right? And obviously it costs money. People are like, well, if I'm trying to pay off debt, why would I want to pay another person to come and help with something?
mhm,
Well, they can help you create that picture. Here's
mhm.
what your spending actually looks like, right? Like I had a financial planner. He was on my podcast. His name's Sam Jones, and
Mhm.
he was going over some tax stuff with me and some investment stuff with me, and he was like, here's your action plan, things you need to do. If you want, you can bring me on as like a financial planner for you, and I will meet with you quarterly and I will make sure things get done. And I'm like, no, I can do it. Just give me the action item list. I hadn't done any of it like a year later. Well, I'd done one thing because it was the one thing I was really excited about, but I didn't get my workers' comp insurance. I didn't get, or not workers' comp, the like short-term disability insurance, right? I didn't get
Mhm.
any of that stuff done. The only thing I'd done was the investment part because I'm really passionate about investing. I think investing's super cool. So I've got my retirement plan and put a little bit of money in it every year, right? And love it. It's fun. But I didn't do any of the stuff. And so it's like, if it's too much for you to do yourself, it is worth paying a professional, even if that seems counterintuitive. There are professionals that do that. That all they do is they help people figure out where their money's going, make that budget, and then show you or help you develop a system where you can review it each month and put the numbers in so you can see where you're
Mm,
at, right? And so that's all they do. And it's really cool. I know
totally.
several of them. I'm trying to get a couple of them to come on the podcast and just talk about it. But some of them are
That'd be
so
awesome.
busy that like they can send me a message back, right? And they're like, Jacob, that sounds super cool. Like these are kids I went to college with that I know from my financial planning program. And they're like, that sounds super cool. Reach back out to me in March. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh
it's
my
so busy.
gosh. I
Because
guess this is kind of like a busy time right
yes,
now.
yep. Lots of stress,
Wow.
lots of stuff around it. But I don't know. Just want to bring that up. I mean, obviously neither of us have done that, but if it's emotions too much, you can find a
I
professional.
agree.
And I will get some and I will eventually share them on the podcast. So
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing. I'd love to watch that. I would love to just be able to learn more. And I think there's nothing wrong with outsourcing. Like I wasn't going to sit down and create a spreadsheet. I would rather rip my hair out than sit down and try to create some sort of spreadsheet with all these formulas in it for our budget. So I outsourced. I spent a little bit of money on Etsy for someone else to do it for me so that I didn't have to sit there and get
love it.
emotional over a
Yeah.
spreadsheet. Yeah. Yep. And I tell people to do that. Like people who follow me, I'm like, out if you don't want to build a spreadsheet, go
Outsource
find
it.
one that someone else built.
Yeah.
It's dollars. It's like $3, you know?
And I'm sure
Yeah.
there's budget templates that's something I should consider. I'll see if I can
Everywhere.
turn mine into one and be like, this is what I do. But I don't know.
Yes.
It's so personal. Outsource it,
It
figure it out.
is.
Yeah. And it'll help. It'll really help
It
because
is.
especially if you're
Yes.
married, right? Like it helps you guys get on the same page because not to be too much about me and my wife and our arguments, every couple argues
No.
about money a little bit and not necessarily
Oh
argue,
my
just
gosh.
disagrees, right? Like
Yes.
it's
Yes.
unreasonable to be spending this much on this thing. Oh, well, for me, that's completely normal, right? Like one thing with me and my wife, and my wife is by no means someone that likes to goes and eats out all the time. She is not. But I
Mm.
come from a background of like never eating out, right? Like 6 kids in my family. Don't get me wrong, my dad is fairly we were upper middle class or middle class, whatever, right? Like I wasn't ultra poor, anything like that. But part of it was because my dad and how he handled money. We hardly ever ate out, right? Like we would eat out when we'd go to California for vacation to see our family. So I grew up hardly ever eating out. It was maybe once or twice a month. Probably more like once a month. Occasionally we'd order a pizza, $5 pizza, $5 pizza in Utah,
Right.
huge thing. Get 4 pizzas for $20. Can't do that nowadays.
Yeah.
So
No.
we especially really early on in our marriage just had some disagreements about some of the finances around spending on food because we both just are different. And neither of us is correct. Neither of us is wrong. It's more about what we're accustomed to. And so one thing that I found really helpful by actually putting numbers down is it allowed us to talk about some of that and make concessions of, okay, you know what? This is the bare minimum, but it's important to us to have a little more money in this area because of the way we like to live our lifestyle. It's important to have, but if we can't afford it, we're going to cut back temporarily until we can again, right? It's what's the bare minimum? Anyways, I'm droning on and on.
No, I love that because I think that's another complicated thing. I've had a few questions too from people that are like, how did you get your husband on board with everything?
How did you?
And I'm like, you know what? I don't know.
You just said you're on board and he was like, okay.
He's like, okay, cool. For what? So I think for a very long time, I was not involved in our finances, like zero involvement. It just gave me too much anxiety. I don't know. That's a very shameful thing for me to admit to, is that I was not involved and I kind of put it all on him to just deal with and figure out. And he works full time and he's got somewhat of a stressful job. And that was really lame of me to be like, well, you can just figure it out, I guess, because I can't look at any of that. It was probably like 7-8 months ago that I don't know. There must have been a moment that happened where I'm like, wow, I really do not know anything about our finances. Like, no, you could ask me a question about our personal finances and I could not answer it. And that kind of woke me up a little bit. And so I told my husband that I said, I'm going to take over the finances now. And he was like, okay.
He must have been
go for
excited.
He was like, yeah, he's very trusting. He was like, okay, great. Yeah, sure. They're great. I don't want to deal with them anymore. He was he was starting a new job and he was very overwhelmed. I'm like, I probably need to take something off his plate. So I took over the finances and started with a personal audit, started with going through those 3 months. And I just collected all the evidence and I was fine doing that on my own. And I basically just presented it to him and I said, this is where we're at. And this is how much we spent in these categories. And let's sit down and figure out a budget based on the evidence, based on the evidence, and
that's
the income that we have. And we sat down and we did it. And like you were saying, there were compromises. He likes to be able to go and eat out. I mean, I do too. And so we made sure that there's room in the budget for eating out. We made sure there's room in the budget for Costco. He really loves Costco. Who doesn't love Costco?
Everyone loves Costco.
But I'm like, but we can't spend $300 at Costco. We can give ourselves like $100 budget during the months that we need to go to buy cat food or whatever. And by the end of it, we were like, okay, this is good. We feel good about this. And I think it just kind of takes showing the numbers and having the evidence in front of you to kind of, maybe if there's one spouse that's like, I don't want to have to give this up, or I'm too scared to be restricted by a budget, to show them the evidence and then to just try it for a month.
Yes.
Just try it for a month. And if it's too much, or you're overspending in every category or whatever, then you adjust.
Yep.
You figure it out, you come back a month later, you adjust the numbers, and you just have to keep doing that until
the numbers
got
work.
it to a good spot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, with me and my wife at the beginning, we were like touching base every week just to be like, how much have we spent this week in our categories, update it from our credit card statements and our debit cards and everything. It's like, what have we actually spent? How close are we to hitting the numbers? Right? Because it's like, we have to keep in these numbers. And now that it's been a couple of years, we kind of get to where we review the previous month, a month later, and we're like, oh, hey, we overspent in this category slightly. We underspent in these categories. Like, obviously we've got enough of a cash buffer now. We've built up an emergency fund to where it's not a problem if we overspend 1 month.
Correct.
But we know what our budget goal is and we can adjust. That's like, hey, next month, oh, well, we noticed we bought bulk cat food, right? Or we had this problem with our car that we had to take to a mechanic, and that was a little bit outside of our budget.
Yeah.
We'll adjust. Or we've actually built now some revolving parts of our budget. We're like, well, we know we have to pay for our dentist every year, so let's just build it in and have like a revolving small amount that goes in, and every month we're putting $20 into this other bank account, and once a year we pay the dentist, we move that money back to pay the dentist, so that way we're budgeting for our annual expenses. And obviously you don't have to do that, right? Everyone has different ways of doing it. That's what worked for her and I. And we do the same thing. We're like, hey, we have all these family members, because very large families. I have over 40 cousins. Yeah, over 40 cousins. So my mom comes from a family of 9. My dad comes from a family of 5. But most of my mom's siblings and dad's siblings, right? Like there's multiple families that have 7+ kids, and then my family has 6 kids. So over 40 cousins. And I have a lot of family and aunts and uncles and things like that we like to. Now, some of them's going to listen to this and be like, Jacob didn't buy me a birthday present. We have someone that we like to do something for the birthday. So we just put a bunch of those. It's like, these are people. Yourself. I know, right? But I put it, and it's like, hey, this is to whatever. Like, we're going to send some cookies to my sister-in-law that lives in Maine for her birthday, just to say we're thinking of her, right? So we put some of those annual expenses in Christmas. We're planning to spend this much money in Christmas on each other. Build it into our monthly budget and transfer it to that savings account. And then, but that's what works for us. I'm not saying this is the way to do it, right? I'm just giving an example. The point is we went from having to check every single week to make sure we're staying the numbers, to now it's just kind of a monthly touch base, because we've gotten used to our budget and the numbers worked and they've stayed working. The most recent time we had to do a dramatic overhaul was about 1.5 years ago. We moved, we bought a new house. And in that process, when we were moving, it's like, hey, this mortgage is a little bit higher. How are we going to adjust for that? Right. And so we had to work out the numbers again and adjust it. And we're like, okay, we can do that. We're going to move and we're going to buy a property, and we're excited. We love it. And it's great. So the numbers work. Right. And we obviously had to save money for it. Yes. I mean, right. We saved a lot of money. I think the down payment on that house was almost $30,000, right? Which we had saved over years and years. It's a lot of money.
Yes. A lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So want to bring all that up.
I think, I just had a thought and it kind of escaped me, but it was just along the lines of the fact that you get used to the budget, and then you also have to think, this is my thought. The thought is that you have to think long term. I've compared budgeting to, like, you can't look at it like a crash diet, right? Where it's like, I just want to lose 20 pounds, so I'm just gonna eat 1,000 calories every day, or whatever it is. I don't know. And just to lose the 20 pounds, and then you lose the 20 pounds, and okay, well, where do you go from here? You cannot sustain that way of life for the rest of your life. You just can't. So your budget has to be the same way too. You have to be able to change it. You have to be able to be flexible, and it has to be able to be something that you can live long term. This isn't like a short term
3 years. 3 years of budgeting with my spouse. It has to work. You have to make it work long term.
It has to work, and you don't ever really stop. You get used to it, and you don't have to look at it every day, but you don't ever stop. And so there was someone that asked me, well, what's your plan for this social media account when you pay off your debt? And first off, I'm like, well, you all are going to be here for several years, because it's not just the credit card debt that we have. So buckle up, everyone. But I'm like, but this is not just about paying off credit card debt. And this is about living a debt-free life, or working towards a debt-free life. And then after that, it's about, how do we save? How do we save our money? How do we transition out of paying for debt, paying towards debt, to paying towards saving, paying towards retirement and our future and our children's future? And there's never, I think I had a moment of like financial maturity when I finally let go of the mindset of, oh, I can't wait till all of our debt is paid off, because then we'll have so much money to spend. It's so easy to, oh, I can't wait till we have money to spend. And now I don't think like that, because that is not how I want to live my life. It's not sustainable. And that could also put you into debt if you let it. So it's just like a mindset shift, and figuring out what's going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
This is going to be the life that you live for however many years. So make it work.
Make it work. You can, like you were saying, you can snowball. Well, once the debt's paid off, why not use that to snowball into retirement, right? Like if you get used to paying off,
Totally.
right, like $60,000 of debt, and you're able to do that in a year and a half or however fast you're planning to do it, or budgeting to do it, right? It's like, hey, once you've got that, it's like, cool, I was able to put $60,000 towards debt in this short time period. What can I do with that next? Maybe it's the next thing that there is. Maybe it's, oh, if I can do that, I can save for a house and then I can adjust my bet. And it's like, okay, how can I retire, right? If you're able to do that, it's like, cool. Well, wait, I don't have to wait till I'm 65 to retire. If I can aggressively pay off debt like this, I can aggressively save like this too. I can aggressively invest or whatever. Like it is freeing. It's empowering because it's like, whoa, I've got money to live a dream. I don't know, to get to a dream. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm excited. I just think it's cool. Paying off debt like you're doing is so cool. I know what
you're saying. It's true. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I think there's a lot of, I don't know if I see it as much anymore, but at least a few years ago, there was a lot of messaging and narratives, especially maybe like TikTok and Instagram, around financial freedom and being very wealthy for financial freedom. But it would just be maybe like these influencers or business owners that had, online businesses, just showing you what they were buying or the lifestyle they were living and labeling that as like financial freedom and wealth.
Freedom's
And
being on a yacht. It's like, what? How's that
or
freedom?
paying for $100,000 car
or vacationing in Mexico. That's financial freedom.
It's like, yeah. And it's so easy to look at that and think, oh my gosh, that seems like such a good life. Like, how do I get to that? And I worked for a multi-millionaire Instagram marketing coach a couple of years ago, who a little bit sold that idea, not without a lot of hard work, right? But a little bit sold this like financial freedom is being able to go and buy Gucci whenever you want. And I honestly look at friends of mine who maybe don't make as much income as my husband and I do, but they have zero debt. And I'm like, that's wealth. That is financial freedom. And that is wealth to me.
Yeah. Because they could pack up and leave. If they're like, we got a job in Italy and wanted to move there, we could do it. We don't have to worry about, oh crap, what about debt? What about this? What about that?
Yes.
Right? Like, yeah. I'm really into minimalism. And so there's a lady who used that term. It's like, if you were to get a job offer to move to Italy and you had to move in 3 days, what would you pack in your house? Minimalism is knowing you can throw away everything else, right? It's like, what would you pack if you had 3 days? Anyways, that's a whole different conversation.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a good mindset to think about.
It is. It really is. It really is. Because if you're paying off debt because you want to buy more things, or you have this idea in your head that wealth means big houses and fancy cars, there's way more to wealth than that. Way, 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 way more than just that.
Yeah, but for me, it's eventually escaping the 9 to 5. It's like, wait, wealth would look like being able to spend time in the morning with my wife, going to the gym at 10 o'clock and then going to work at 11:30 or whatever, right? It's like, oh, how can I build towards that? Anyways, that's delusions of grandeur.
A good dream. I don't think so. I don't think that's delusional.
Something I'm working towards.
Yeah.
Give it 10 years. Yeah. This is awesome. Well, I know we're kind of coming up on time, but I wanted to just kind of generally, is there anything else you wanted to share or talk about or discuss? Any inklings of future content that we're going to be getting from Mattie?
That's a great question. I'm looking at my notes now because I'm like, is there anything that I want to talk about? I don't know. You might have to cut all of this out as I'm searching through my notes.
Totally fine. I can do it. Do we get a cat update? Like maybe we need to see some cats on the Instagram. Yeah.
I know. I think one thing that I haven't told people, and it's not like a secret or anything, and I'll expose it on this podcast, but we actually live in my parents' house right now. Oh. So we sold our home where it was. And then we moved into my parents' house because they are temporarily living in another state for a couple of years. And we are paying them rent. We are not living here rent free or anything like that. We are paying to live here, and a cat. So we have 3 cats now that we're all living under one roof.
Love it.
But yeah, we're living in their house. A lot of people, some people have asked what our living situation is now, and that's where we've been for the last however many months. What was the question?
I think we're both
inkling
ADD.
I know, oh my word, of content to come.
Yeah,
No,
that was
I'm
something
just
I
gonna
asked about.
say, buckle up. We are planning on paying this credit card debt at least very quickly. And um we're hoping, I don't even know if I want to say when we're planning on paying it off, because then I will be accountable to it. Our optimistic hope
Ooh,
is
it's
that
real.
we we will pay this credit card debt off by the summer of 2026.
Whoa, summer. So like 7
Summer.
to 8 months.
Yeah.
Wow. I was
Yeah.
expecting like December or something.
No, we're very, very optimistic that
Very.
we can pay this off. So, any of the comments about that people are saying, like, are you declaring bankruptcy? No, we're not declaring bankruptcy. We are working very hard to pay this off very
Wow.
quick. That's optimism. I think more realism, maybe like end of summer, beginning of fall.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm
We
gonna
should be
follow
debt
along the
free.
whole time. If people want to follow along on your journey and see your fun content and be inspired like I
Yes.
have been to commit, I'm gonna
Thank
pay off
you.
all of the student loans that me and my wife have by December of this year. That's the plan. I've been inspired. If people want to be inspired and watch your content, where can they find you?
Um, Everywhere. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and they all have different names, so you might need to put them in your
I can put them
description
all
or
in the notes. If
something.
you're watching
Okay.
this, go
Yeah.
in the podcast description. We'll have the links to all of the social media that Mattie wants to share with me. Oh,
Listen, I've shared it all already, so
yeah.
there's nothing else to share.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much for being willing to talk to me. I'm very honored to
Yeah.
be the first podcaster to get to talk to you about this. Makes me feel
It
so
is
good and
very
excited.
exciting.
It's
I feel
fun.
honored to be a part of your podcast that you've been building and growing.
Thanks.
You're very professional, you're very well spoken.
Oh
Your
gosh.
content is very awesome. I've been
Thanks.
very impressed with it. So,
Yeah, well, to toot my own horn and kind of talk about me just a quick second, right? Obviously,
yes.
this content, if you're watching this anywhere on YouTube, there should be links to another video similar. But my content is all about actionable financial information, right? It's, hey, how do I deal with roofing? How do I deal with budgeting? How do I deal with investing? How do I deal with a home claim, an auto claim? How do I maintain my house so I can avoid claims? I had a guest recently, we talked about her house burning down. She got into, anyways, that'll be somewhere in here. There's all sorts of stuff, and it's all about giving people tools that they can take financial action. So that's what I want for everyone, is to be able to be empowered financially in their life to control everything. And obviously along the way, okay, fine, I'm an auto insurance guy in Utah, happy to do quotes for people, but the focus is that. In fact, I actually had someone just reach out to me about potentially doing a sponsorship of my podcast, and that's scary to think about. It's
Oh,
like, oh, someone might pay me to listen to. Anyways, that might come up soon. We'll see what happens. That'll be in
very
probably
exciting.
March. They're having me talk to them more about it. Anyways, so that's a little update on me. Thank you so much for being on, Mattie. This has been fantastic. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
And yeah, we'll
Thank you so
talk again soon, I'm
much.
sure.
Yeah, talk soon.